What's up, Dan K Show fans? Puck drop this weekend on the 2019-2020 season in all levels of the USPHL, and it is hockey time in America. Dan K and Lucas Jones are going to be recapping the entire opening weekend, and we've got a lot in store for you this week. All right, a lot to cover this week, hockey fans, so let's get right to it with Dan K's Three Things, my favorite portion every week where I get to talk all alone. This is fun. Thing number one, season's underway. That's an easy one. Let's get that underway. Tons of hockey to talk about. We're going to get to it soon. Thing number two, how about those Twin City Thunder booming out of the gates? A win against the Bandits, a semifinal team from last year in the NCDC, and a split with the Connecticut Junior Rangers. They were 2-0 at one point this year. This Thunder team, new team who? What issues could you have? They've got none right now. Coach Friedman has these guys ready to win today, right now. Can't wait to see more from the Thunder next weekend. Thing number three, next weekend. Junior Bruins shootout. Lucas and I will have a whole slate of games going on. We'll be doing some NCDC, but we're going to be focusing mostly on Premier and a lot of the Utes. The 18U, 16U, and 15U, the Utes will be covered heavily by the Dan K Show.
Excuse me, Dan. What is a Ute?
And that is perfect, Lucas. A perfect transition, because now I introduce into the show for the first time tonight my left-hand man, Mike Consigliere, Ma Michelle, and also the oldest young man I've ever met. It's Lucas Jones, and Utes are youths, Your Honor. And they are the 15U, 16U, 18U. We're going to have a ton of USPHL, ton of EHF, ton of good hockey this weekend to cover. We're going to be doing play-by-play on Hockey TV.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got the schedule down, so you can go over to dankshow.com under the events page, click on the Boston Junior Bruins Shootout. You'll see our broadcast schedule. It'll also be all over social media. Those are the games we're going to be covering. Yep. You're going to need a Hockey TV subscription to watch them, but you're going to be watching these younger players, the EHF selects, these premier teams, these guys that are the future of not just USPHL hockey, but college hockey and beyond.
I can't wait to see it. We did a few games last year. We want to really ramp that up this year. We want to be covering the young guys, the future of the game here. Everybody in the USPHL and NCDC, the future of the game. But these guys, these youngsters, man, they need that spotlight. We're bringing it to you. So let us know what games you'd like to see us do, what games you'd like to see us cover and talk about on next week's show after the Boston Junior Bruins Shootout. And come out and see us at the Junior Bruins Shootout. We may have some shirts to throw at you, too, if you have a chance. Let's keep going, though, Lucas. Let's get into the show. Let's get into a story that I wanted to cover right away. Broken by Alex Thomas, story written by Josh Boyd of the USPHL. How about Kaylee Flanagan, the first female coach in the NCDC's young history here. Kaylee Flanagan, hopefully the first of many here, female assistant coach of the Northern Cyclones, and obviously she's going to be working with one of our favorite coaches in the game of hockey, Bill Flanagan, her father. Kaylee, a U.S. gold medalist, Olympian hockey player. She is absolutely skilled, one of the best hockey players in the world in the women's game. Overall, she's had an incredible career so far. What can she instill into these young men in the NCDC?
Well, I think it's a different perspective a little bit, right? So Bill Flanagan is that that leadership mentality, that grizzled veteran in the hockey community, and then you've got the fresh, young, talented, incredibly successful blood that she's going to be bringing to this organization, and she's out there skating on the ice with these players, getting ready to continue her hockey career as well. So there is definitely that mindset of she's a coach, but she's also right out there with us.
Exactly right. And you know, she's a physical player too. And I can guarantee you, I've heard from some of the players, you saw Will Gavin in the interview. If you go to Alex Thomas's Twitter page, @AlexThomas14, you can see a little bit of that article written by Josh Boyd. Will Gavin, the guys talked about it, man, she's so skilled. It allows them an ability to play against talent that is Olympic level ability. And Kaylee is going to be somebody who plays a big role in this NCDC squad. And if there's one thing that the Flanagans always do, it's win. Bill Flanagan does it. Kaylee Flanagan does it. That family is a winning breed. And I'm just excited to see what comes out of the Northern Cyclones.
Well, if you thought playing against one Flanagan was tough, Now there's two of them, right? There's two of them now, and that Flanagan family, they are physical. They are running players through boards back to the states they came from, as I like to say. And it's such a great addition to that Northern Cyclones hockey family. Big things for that NCDC team this year.
Congratulations to Kaylee Flanagan on the new position, and I'm sure she's got a ton more coming here. I can't wait to see the next Olympian gold medalist here. I think she's going to go for a little two-peat there. But congrats. We can't wait to see you at an event, Kaylee. And, of course, Coach Bill Flanagan, can't wait to see you as well. You two beauties right there. Absolutely awesome. Let's keep going. Let's move down the list. Next topic coming up here, Lucas. A team in the Midwest that might give you a little scare after last week's predictions.
You are watching The Dan K Show. Everything USPHL. From the NCDC to the Premier and Elite Leagues. The Dan K Show with Dan K and Lucas Jones.
All right, I teased it right before we went to break there, and now it's time to pay off on this one. And Lucas, last week we did our way too early predictions, and you predicted that the Motor City Hockey Club would win the Midwest East. And I liked the pick. I liked going out on an edge like that, but I felt like you forgot a team that at one point, just about 3 years ago, was the team in the Midwest. They were the team in the Midwest, and that is the Chicago Cougars. These guys are difficult to deal with, difficult to beat, and they look like they are back and better than ever.
Well, I certainly didn't think I forgot about them, right? I mean, they were an amazing team. They have an amazing pedigree, but you can't stay on top in a division for long enough, and Motor City Hockey Club was good, or at least I thought so until the Chicago Cougars went ahead and dunked on that all over my predictions this weekend. I mean, run down the stats.
I mean, you look at it right now, you look at the weekend, 17-3, they outscored a team in the Metro Jets development program that joins the Midwest East this year, a team that was a win away from going to nationals last year. The Cougars come out and just absolutely control the style of play, control the pace, play well against a team that is going to factor in. MJDP is going to factor into the postseason this year. I think they're going to nationals. I could say it today on day one. But this Cougars team is back and better than ever, man. And Coach Brad Stofers, this is a guy that just knows how to win. This is a guy I talk to a lot here. The guy is a great dude. Great dude behind the scenes. Great coach to play for. Players coach. A real leader behind the bench. A real Tom Cruise lookalike as well, which I'll always say. I'm never going to let this guy get away with it. Guy looks like Tom Cruise. If I look like Tom Cruise, I talk about it all the time. But we got to look at his top scorer here. The top point getter in all of the USPHL Premier after the first weekend of the season, Jasa Janko. This guy is a prospect for Team Slovenia in the World Juniors. This guy is a goal getter. He is a point getter. He is an assist maker. He is a creator, Lucas. A 5-goal, 4-assist weekend. 9 points with 1 power play goal, 1 power play assist for Jasa. A huge weekend.
I mean, that's incredible. You know, what else can you really say about that type of... That's the type of weekend where in some of these games that we watched, you could put just those stats up against another team, and you'd come away with at least 1 win. You know, especially in a defensive game. But this Cougars team, you know, for all the talk about the Midwest being a defensive-minded region, you put up offensive numbers like that, now all of a sudden you got other teams looking at your roster and shaking in their skates because you're coming up against a formidable offense.
Yeah, exactly right. And this Cougars team, I mean... Last year, the offense seemed to get away from them a little bit, but they returned some guys. They bring in Jasa, and this kid's at 2,000. Both of his goals were the game-winning goals. Both goals. 2 days in a row. They played 2 games. He's got the game-winning goal in both. This team is ready to go. And with Coach Stofers being on the bench, with an owner like John Schwarz kind of pulling the strings there in Chicago, this is an organization that has nothing but wins written all over it. And if you guys want to play well, great, because we're always down to come out and get some food with Mr. Schwartz, because these guys, they feed you better than anybody in the game.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's an organization and an owner that takes care of their players. You can see the quality of play on the ice.
Takes care of us too.
Takes care of us as well. It's a phenomenal people to work with. So, you know, it's great to see them off to the start. You have me shaking in my skates a little bit because even though they were way too early predictions, I would have liked to at least been closer to being right after the first 2 games, but we'll see how it goes for the rest of the season.
Well, again, Motor City's going to have a lot to say about it, because that Midwest East, you saw Motor City last year, they were on a come-up, right? This is a team that every year they've gotten better. Every year you've seen that skill rising to the top with them, and I wouldn't count anybody out in the Midwest right now. I think the Midwest last year, for sure, and this year was the most unpredictable 2 divisions in the USPHL at any level the last year and the year before that as well. And you look at it next weekend, it's going to be a great barometer for the success of the Cougars right there, as the Cougars are going to take on the Wisconsin Rapids River Kings and Mr. Marty Quarters.
Well, if there's any guy that spoils a team's winning streak, it's definitely Marty Quarters. And if you go back and watch our Power Rankings episodes last year, we had so much trouble with the Midwest. Every time we thought we had a handle on who was the best team in the Midwest, they get swept by somebody else, usually Marty Quarters.
Yep. I mean, look at the weekend. Look at the weekend here. You look at it, you got a team like Metro out in the Great Lakes. They get a big-time weekend sweep of the Lansing Wolves. But then you look at the Midwest West. The Mullets, they beat the Ducks. They come back, they beat them again. But then you got the Moose. They lose to the Havoc. They come back and bounce back and beat the Havoc. We're already starting on this again. We're already starting on this back and forth. You got the Vipers going out there and beating the Blue Hawks. When Dan Kay said he got 2 games wrong. I picked 16 games last Saturday. This past Saturday, I picked 16 games. I got 2 wrong. That shows you just how, like, the perfection of what I do and the time and the effort I put into it. He disagrees. I agree. But the Vipers, man, they go out and 5-4 win over the Blue Hawks. I didn't see that coming. And you don't see anything coming in this division. You don't see it. The Blue Hawks were a game away from the national title last year in the Premier. They come out day one, a lot of returners, a lot of talent, always a lot of size with that Blue Hawks squad and a great coaching staff. And they get beat by the Vipers there on some road ice. Anybody's ball game. It is going to be so fun, and that's why I introduce, during this segment, something I'm going to be doing this year. On Instagram Live, we're going to be doing Midwest Mondays. Dan Kay and Lucas Jones, we're probably alternated times on this, but Monday nights, we're going to be, since we get together to tape the show a lot, we're going to be doing some Midwest Mondays. 5 to 10 minutes live on Instagram where we'll talk about the weekend in the Midwest, because what was the #1 complaint we got last year?
Your shows were too long.
Nope, that was number 2. What was number 1?
We didn't talk enough about the Midwest.
Yes, that was number 1. So we are talking Midwest this year, and we're talking Midwest hardcore. We're going to do some Midwest Mondays. We're going to be talking about a little bit of what happened on the weekend and really diving into one of the most fun portions of this country to watch hockey.
Yeah, and that's going to be so much fun for us to do because there is so much going on in the Midwest all the time with all these different teams. And there are so many teams that are out there that you really do need its own little segment to kind of talk about them.
Yep, and you know who's going to get their own little segment next? A team that had a very good weekend themselves, Carolina Junior Hurricanes Elite.
The Dan K Show's coming to your town. The Dan K Show, covering everything USPHL from the NCDC, Premier and Elite. The Dan K Show, starring Dan K and Lucas Jones.
We're back, hockey fans, and we're talking elite hockey, more specifically the Carolina Junior Hurricanes, who had themselves one heck of an opening weekend. They're 2-0 after opening weekend, and they had some standout players. Their top scorer right now, Daniel Now, 5 points in 2 games, 1 goal and 4 assists, which I love to see from a top scorer.
Yep.
Because it's not always about who scores the goal, it's about who manufactures the goal. It's about the guy making the bunt to move the runner over in baseball terms. So you love to see that from him. Luke Havener and Ethan Chapman backing him up on the points total. Ethan Chapman with 2 goals, 1 assist. Luke Havener, 1 goal, 3 assists. Getting active on the power play a little bit as well. This is a good early sign from this Carolina team that we've been so excited to see.
Yeah, they go out there and they beat a tough Colonials team back-to-back. You look around kind of the elite this weekend. You see the Richmond Generals, 2 games played. Guess how many goals they've allowed?
2.
0 goals allowed through 2. No goals allowed yet. That's ridiculous. That is net minding, and that is a defending champion coming back and immediately dominating. You look at the Charlotte Rush. They go into enemy territory with the Hampton Roads Whalers, and they take 2. They sweep the Hampton Roads Whalers. You want to know the last time the Hampton Roads Whalers were swept? I can't remember. This team wins no matter what, and the Rush show up for some big wins. Tampa Bay Juniors, they get taken to OT by the Florida Junior Blades. They get a win, and then they come back the next day and dominate. So this is an interesting elite. Lucas, who would you say right now stands out as the top elite squad in the USPHL Elite?
Well, I mean, a lot of teams had good weekends, right? A lot of players had great weekends, but it's a little too early to get into that. And
Why
do
is
you
that?
know why, Dan?
I don't know why. Why don't you tell the folks? Tell them why.
The reason why it's too early to get into that is because it is not yet the end of the month. And what we do at the end of every month is we deliver our power rankings, the best of the best in the elite and the premier USPHL leagues. And I know what you're thinking. Sure, there's a lot of other power rankings out there. There's a lot of computer models. There's a lot of math. Well, folks, as a man who teaches math, let me tell you something right now. I don't trust it.
I don't trust
it's
it.
a lot of numbers mixed with a lot of letters, and I certainly don't appreciate when that happens. Yep. So we don't use the same models. We look at the stats, but we also look at players. We look at game footage. We look at a lot of different factors before putting our top 10 list together. They've generated some controversy in the past, but I think that's a good thing because it gets people talking about different teams, and especially your teams at home. It gets you guys talking to us. So you'll have to wait till the end of the month for those, and not just a regular Power Rankings episode. Oh no, because we've got an entire show redesign coming down the pipe. We've got new software, it's a new year, and a new us. So you'll be seeing some fancier computer graphics, a ton more information. You're already starting to see a little bit more of the highlight videos trickling in, but I guarantee you guys are going to love the show redesign. It's taken a lot of suggestions actually that the folks at home over the years have been sending our way about what to add and what they'd like to see. So we're finally going to be implementing that all at once.
We're going to be doing it all, man, and it's going to be fun. These are the most watched power rankings in junior hockey, the most viewed power rankings in junior hockey. And to get into the top 10, you're going to have one last chance at the end of this month. We'll be at the Southern Showcase down there in Hampton Roads, Virginia, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all day. We'll be broadcasting 15 games in 3 days. We'll be watching hockey all weekend long. And for you Premier and Elite squads trying to make the top 10, trying to crack that top 10, that'll be your last chance before October 3rd. Thursday, October 3rd, we'll be releasing live our first Premier and Elite Power Rankings. You can vote for that. I mean, it's not going to count for anything. Right. But you can tell us, we want you to tell us who you think should be number one. Give us your top 10. I'll even give a prize to someone, a shirt I'll send to you, or a hat, your choice, if you can get the top 10 right before we pick it. Before October 3rd, if you can send us what you think the Power Rankings top 10 is for the Elite and or the Premier, you can do both if you'd like, and you get it completely right, 1 through 10, I'll send you a hat or shirt, because that's ridiculous if you know that. Then you're inside our minds, and you might be a psychic. Welcome to the Empty Net. Welcome to the Empty Net, our favorite portion on each week's show where we get to talk to you, the fan, sometimes the player, sometimes the coach. And in this case, the first story on the Empty Net is the bro fest going on between Mike Stanaway, head coach of the Premier and Elite New York Aviators, and apparently former bro of the Dan K Show, R.C. Like, head coach of the Premier Richmond Generals and the Elite defending champion Richmond Generals. And we used to think that, like, R.C. Like was, like, our bro only. Like, just our bro. Like, we were bros, he was bro. We're broing up. Now he's broing it up with Mike Stanaway because they're both two league guys.
I mean, part of me wants to say that more bros is good bros. What? The other part of me wants to tell Mike Stanaway.
Have we let Mike Stanaway into the bro tribe yet?
We're watching him.
We're watching him now.
Definitely watching him.
He might get into the bro tribe. We'll see.
We're watching him on hockey TV like 3 times a week.
We are. The guy's going to score more than 280 goals this year with that Premier squad at the New York Aviators. Have fun with that.
Sure as heck won't.
We're going to be giving him a lot of swag when that happens, but no, we love to see it. R.C. Like and Mike Stanaway, congrats to the coach Mike Stanaway on his first Elite win. He beat the Boston Bandits, who last year were my number one team almost all year long in the Elite. That's a huge, huge win for Coach Stanaway.
Yeah, no, that's such an incredible job. And like we said, the first weekend of hockey is always a little bit tough, so extra props to the teams and coaches that are really able to come away with a strong performance.
Also in the Empty Net, we were introduced by Bill David and the Twin City Thunder to their new broadcasters. Mr. Jeff Maddox will be leading the way for them. This guy is an absolute beauty in the game. An incredible broadcaster. Twin City Thunder, like they do everything, again, a perfect hire for them.
Yeah, no, really looking forward to what they're going to be able to bring to an already exciting Twin City Thunder hockey team.
Very excited to see it. Twin City, they do it well on the ice, they do it well off the ice, they do it well everywhere. It's incredible. What an organization. If you haven't been up there yet to see a game, you got to go to that rink and watch some Twin City Thunder hockey, man. It's booming up there in Maine. Keep it going. How about Owen Stacy in 01 here? We got that hockey dad sending us a little video with some highlights. And this guy has a goal that I had to respond to on Twitter. I personally jumped into Twitter, said, social media manager, producer Lena, I got to do this one. I got to deal with this one. And I said, that first goal was absolute artistry Let's take a look at this jam home score from behind the net.
That was an awesome goal. That's one of those things that you see a little bit of trickery, and you know that that is going to be one of those moves that you pull out 2 or 3 times a season when you really need that goal late in the third.
Every once in a while behind the net, when you see you've not had, no one's come back to challenge you behind the net, you just throw that parachute back, you throw the gears in the extra little overdrive behind the net, look like you're going to go other end. And instead of the wraparound try, throw the brakes, jam it home, an incredible score, great job. Owen Stacy, thanks for the follow. That's an 0-1 with a big career ahead of him. Lucas, we got big careers ahead of us. We got a lot ahead of us. We'll be at the Junior Bruin Shootout next weekend in Marlboro. But for now, I got to ask you to give the folks your parting words. I thought that was going in a different direction, and only we will know which direction that could have gone. Dan K, Lucas Jones. When Dan K's on the mic, it is always hockey night. See you in Marlboro, folks. There you go. We did it. I don't think you got anything else.
No.
I mean, what else could we have done?
No, I
Pretty
think
good show.
everything. Yeah.
This weekend, man, I'm pumped. Little Boston Junior Eagles. Caw!
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be
a good
fun.
time. It'll be
Skip Jacks,
the
Boston Junior Eagles.
first real travel of the season, too.
Yeah.
Hit that early morning coffee.
Crack pepper eggs at the
Crack pepper
Marriott.
eggs.
I got my Marriott locked in, locked down, 12 stays away, Titanium Elite.
Didn't even know that existed.
It doesn't.